Thank you all for joining us.
Glad to hear that the Maker Faire is being resurrected.
And we're digging it out.
So great to see these faces. Hello, everybody.
So I guess we still have folks coming in, but I just want to say hello. I'm Dale Doherty, and we are trying to do Maker Faire Bay Area in a new venue in a new format slightly with 2 weekends instead of one. And I'll explain some of this as we get into it. Let me just quickly introduce, we'll bring them on later, but just some of the people from Make that are here. And Jillian Muti, Katie Cundy are two of the kind of lead producers for Maker Faire. Jamie and Sienna are working with them, and I think we have some others. Kathy Shanahan, there's probably some others from Make on the call, but you know, they'll be here to answer your questions. We thought, one time when we were doing Maker Faire, we kind of had town hall meetings, we called them, and just get makers together and ask questions, of things and run ideas by us. So mostly we just want to be available to help you participate in Maker Faire and get your ideas and things. What I'm going to do first of all is give you a walkthrough of the venue that we have with some photographs to give you an idea of what it looks like. We're moving from San Mateo to Mare Island, and this is a waterfront venue, as you'll see in a moment. Jamie, could you go ahead and move the next slide? So this gives you a map of kind of where, and almost in the center is Mare Island Naval Shipyard. It's a historic naval shipyard that is across from Vallejo on actually the Napa River. And but you can see it's accessible from 37, which gets you kind of the North Bay. 80 comes down from Sacramento and comes up from Oakland, and then 680 also connects. So it's a pretty good location, we feel. A little bit different, a little north of where we were, certainly in San Mateo. All right, next slide. One interesting thing is you can get there by ferry. There's a ferry stop right at Mare Island. There's one also in Vallejo. So if you live in San Francisco, I recommend you take the ferry. Next.
And ferry rides will be free.
Yeah, that's what we hear.
There.
I mean, that's almost a good reason enough to just go
Yeah.
to San Francisco and take the ferry.
Now, fingers crossed will have extra routes, but
yeah,
at least the routes that are there will be free.
And hi to Kristen. I saw David Schick come in, and also former intern Sam Freeman. Nice to see all of you. So here's an overhead shot of Mare Island, the parts that we'll be using. Where you see the boats is pretty much where the ferry is docking there. And that's just past what the entrance is. The crane, as I'll show you in a minute, is going to be our entrance and exit. And both basically the buildings along the waterfront here on the second half, the left half of this slide are the ones that we're using. There is some parking near here, but we'll probably use some of this for maker parking and VIP parking. The public will be parking in a different lot. Mare Island covers, a lot of other ground to the, that you can also see. You can kind of see how it fits the Napa River across there that you see is Vallejo across the Napa River. Okay, next. This is the new one, I guess. So this is just putting some labels on here. I'm going to walk you through or calling the different things. As you see the gates coming in, we have a really large building we're calling the Storehouse, and then these coal sheds, which I'm going to go through and show you them, and we're going to try to organize them in different activities and different things. On site is also CrossFit, not that we plan to use it. The brewery, we do have hopes of using it, and it'll be open during the times that we're here. So, and then at the bottom here, you'll see the Foundry, which is a really large, well, it was a foundry. It was where they were working on the ships. I will say, if you want to put stuff in the Q&A, we'll get to it. I'll also, when I get through this thing, we'll stop and take any questions you have, but feel free to mark them in there so my colleagues can answer them in the meantime. So that's the overview. And now I'm going to take you, if you'd go to the next slide, please. Oh, just, here are the dates from when we're running from, October 13th, there's a Friday. It's going to be Education Day. Public can come as well. Opening night dinner from probably 6 to 8 p.m. And then a Saturday and Sunday will be open from 10 to 6. And then the following weekend, the same pattern, really, with an Education Day on Friday and Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 6. So the venue we have here, Mare Island, is smaller footprint than what we have in San Mateo, which I think is a positive thing for us. The reason kind of doing 2 weekends is to rotate some of the exhibits and makers from one weekend to the next. But it's largely, we'll probably have about 7,000 to 10,000 people a day for Maker Faire, probably on the Saturday and the Sunday. That's the capacity of this area. So we may have people, but we can't take the volume of people we had in San Mateo on any one day. So that's essentially try to split it over 4 to 6 days. That is why we're doing 2 weekends. Also, kind of, there's some stuff that we load in at the beginning. We want to see if that, if running it for 6 days is a good idea. So that's part of this experiment, is to do it a little differently. Okay. Next. Okay, so this is ground level, looking north. We're in the south end of this property, and this will be our exit and entrance right by the crane here. So people will be dropped off or walk in here. The brick building is the building we're calling the Storehouse, and we'll have stuff in there as well. There's also a little bit of space in the alley beyond the fence that we may use for certain things. Okay, next. Okay, this is the Storehouse and the waterfront. You can kind of see it's a pretty long building. It kind of has, for us, it has sort of 2 halves. The north half has kind of open stalls that we'll put makers in and others in, and the southern half is a little bit darker. It has some energy equipment and other things in there, and we're looking at doing a fashion show one weekend and the dark room the next weekend there. Maker Shed will also be along this on the waterfront, but tented outside of this building. Okay, let's move on. So this is the interior of this, and I think those are 20 foot. There's 20 feet of space between each beam there, and I think we counted 22 spaces or something like that in there. And that's so it's a covered space. It's pretty well ventilated. It's pretty airy. You could go to the next one. This is just another view of the same building, just to kind of give you it feels a little bit low because of the beams somewhat, but it is otherwise good. All right, so the next segment that we go through is called the coal sheds. They used to keep the coal in there for the ships. We're theming them a bit. The first is a playground. It would be kids' activities. Second and third will be makers, probably just organized at mostly at tables. And the fourth is a themed area and demo stage. Themed meaning cosplay one weekend and robots the next. And here's what the coal shed looks like. And again, we're going to put makers inside of these. These are closed on 3 ends and opened on the end that faces the Napa River. We will black out windows in the dark room when we need to. saw that question pop up. That's another view of the coal sheds. I think this is kind of from the railing, and it kind of shows you can see there's a lot of the esplanade or waterfront area is something we're going to play with and put things like art cars and other vehicles and other sculptures and things along there as well. The tents or the coal sheds, this is the back of them. They have doors. We won't have the public coming in and out these doors, but for load in, makers will be able to drive up to the back of the shed that they're in and unload. We'll also probably have, if they're just walk-ins, we'll have them park and help them in with carts from there. So that's what the logistics kind of looks like. Next. This just gives you a sense of the waterfront area. And it's a pretty big space. There'll be a lot of room to work on there. We look to have music. Haven't figured out exactly where to put the stage yet, but we'll have music going on here. Particularly trying to find mobile makers that have things that move, little robots, RC cars, and stuff like that. And then the last kind of major building that we have here is called the Foundry, and this is the front of it. It doesn't look that interesting, to be honest, from the outside. But if you go to the next one, this is what it looks like inside. And it's pretty terrific. We can only use up to that, what's kind of that middle wall, it's a kind of gray wall there. We can't put anybody or anything behind that, but we're looking at doing kind of a sculpture gallery here and hanging some things from the ceiling. And there's also some areas over in the right-hand side where we may partition off some workshop areas as well. And then the last, and that's just another view, that wall that I was talking about is on the left here. It's a really big, interesting space, and we're just trying to find some cool stuff to put in there. Currently it doesn't have electricity, but we'll probably bring electricity into it. So, we want to fill this space up, of course, with makers and artists and musicians and hands-on activities. We need volunteers. We need marketing partners and champions. And we're also looking for schools to participate in any of the education days. But, I'm pleased to say we already have a flow of makers coming in. It's great to see the projects coming in. I think Sienna started accepting them today, the ones that don't have any logistic issues to discuss. So we're pretty happy with that. And if you go to the next one, I think it's a time to open questions. And maybe if you have questions, we'll look at the Q&A, but you can also raise your hand and I'll try to get to you. But we're looking forward to Maker Faire. At the end of this is, it's been 3 years since we've done it, and we're really happy to be bringing it back. And the feeling of being with all of the different people is great. There's Larry. Hi, Larry. Nice to see you. And all of you. So
Reynolds,
yes,
the cake for me though tonight. In terms of his background and setup. Do you see him, Dan?
Who's that?
Jason Reynolds.
Oh, I saw something going on there.
Hi there.
Oh my. Hey there. Awesome.
Excited to be a part of this year.
Yeah, thank you. So any on-site camping available? We are looking into it. The Solano County Fairgrounds has camping.
Yeah, it's not, we just found out it's not open right now. It's under construction, but we're actually, our producer is going to go look at it and try to talk to someone there tomorrow. So we're trying to find a solution for that, but it's not in August right now.
We may have something at in American Canyon, possibly something in Fairfield, but we'll be posting those links as soon as we can.
I
Yeah.
found a hip camp over on the other side of Vallejo near American Canyon that's got 15 sites available, but they're $80 a night for a
Yeah.
basic, pretty unimproved field to camp in.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
But it's doable.
Would you
And
mind
it's not
sending
too
that
far.
link? That
Katie,
would
we
Yeah.
have-
I'll,
Yeah.
I'll
Okay,
share.
I'm just gonna keep going through the questions. Hi, Ted Tagami. How are you?
so send,
The crane operable? No, it's not. But if anyone has any ideas for it, I mean, I'll entertain it. I don't think we can operate it, but we can probably decorate it or something. That's a fun idea. It's a, there's
first
many
time I
little
saw it,
things in there.
as soon as I saw it, I thought there's just all sorts of opportunities to decorate that thing. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Well, feel free to send some ideas. Anonymous participant is asked about heating. I don't know about that. I'm hoping it's really good Bay Area weather. We're going during the day, not at night. We'll have to improvise if it turns to be different. Will there be a Maker Faire dinner on the second Friday? I think we'll have like a happy hour that weekend, but maybe not a dinner. It's just what we're doing. Our flame effects allowed? They are outside. We are probably in a better place than San Mateo, in that it's a privately owned space now, and so we'll have to. We do obviously the paperwork and everything has to be planned in advance. No spontaneous flaming will be allowed.
Yes, so I
But,
asked if you have fire or if you're a heavy exhibit, just get those technical riders in as fast as possible. You can email the technical riders to makers@make.co, and that will definitely help us kind of make sure everything's dialed in sooner rather than
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. So I don't see any hands raised, but I see there's more in the chat. As to Conan O'Brien coming, Glenn, I don't know. I think Jillian has his coordinates. We'll let him know. I think it has more to do with his son than anything. His son is still interested. I have a
His
feeling they
son
might
is
come up.
still interested.
Great.
Bill,
Yeah.
I did see a couple questions in both places about when will you be able to express what weekend you're available for or what weekend you're going to be exhibiting on. So we're responding to the applications as soon as we can. We've been responding to a bunch today. The next step is to fill out your availability. So we will be asking and making sure that we are not slating you on a weekend that you can't exhibit.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. You'll be able to pick your weekend essentially. We just need to know, and if you want to do two, we'll consider that as well. So that's answering which weekend. We answered sponsors. We have some. If anybody works at a company that would like to sponsor a Maker Faire or particular month, I haven't reached out to Katie Cundy, but we'd love to have some sponsors for school and young people coming. Anybody want to underwrite tickets for the community? We're getting really good support, I say, from the city of Vallejo and from Solano County for the event, and it feels really good. What about bathrooms? Well, we'll have portables there for sure. They are
They're not fancy, but
yeah. Yeah.
had them in Bay Area too.
Yeah, same as we had there. Okay. Let's see. Kristen, you asked about Gerard and the paella. I think it'll be something different this year, but
Oh,
we'll let
no.
you know. Yeah. might be a break in the tradition. Let's see. And David, we'll work with you on the plastics injection molders and shredding. I don't need a tech waiver or a rider, but just I think more with you, just figure out what the plan for space is. I'm really excited. David is it Precious Plastic San Francisco? And we're gonna have a focus on plastics recycling.
Peninsula Precious
pretty,
Plastic.
pretty, what is it? Peninsula Precious Plastic, sorry, Dave. And and his son and wife are involved in this, in San Mateo, as it were. So that's great. Marco, I like what I see behind you there.
Yeah, one of them was actually there for 2 years, 18 and 19, I believe.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, we'd love to see that again.
Yeah.
Really just jump in if you have questions or comments. If anybody wants to tell us what they're thinking about or what you'd like to if you haven't applied, I should probably go through that. We're asking you to fill out an interest form and Maker Faire Bay Area. And then we'll get back to you with basically saying yes, and then figure out your logistics and then confirm that. And then we're ready to go.
I'd like to pre-prep some printed objects that might be in conjunction with the Maker Faire, either swag or any planned, like if there's tumblers. I've recently worked with the city of Mountain View to create tumbler sleeves with some fun additional things that, creates a little, like a koozie for the tumbler, and then, a little protection there. What is Maker Faire planning on selling in terms of, Maker Faire swag at these years?
Well, I think you should talk to Jillian about that.
Okay.
I think we'll, probably just have t-shirts and stuff like that, but we're open to new ideas.
You can email me. I'll drop my email in to the chat.
Oops.
And we can connect with Rob at the Maker Shed.
Thumbs up.
Great.
And Judy, I hear what you're saying, and we will definitely take a look at the tradition. Maybe in October, it's a little bit different with how everybody's events calendars line up. So we're trying to shift that in terms of just dates, and some will work and some won't.
Yeah. And there's can our cars drive around? That's a good question.
No, our
probably
cars will have
not
to-
during the event, but
Not during the event, but we are in discussions with the city of Vallejo about certain points having a certain route.
or parade,
So
like
opening and closing, some sort of parade. But as of now, they will not be up and down. Cupcakes are questionable.
yeah.
art boats. That's a
Yeah.
really fun
Well,
idea, Ted.
Another
Yeah.
one, which the city of Vallejo in the waterfront, I guess there's a lot of different players involved in that. The city is okay with it, the ferries are okay with it, but we have to get by Homeland Security to get the go on that. I don't know
Yeah.
why I know these answers, but obviously you guys can see how my last few weeks.
The one thing is there's not really a launch area, like a ramp right near where the thing is, but there is a little bit further down. So you have to see if people could, dock there, and they have to avoid the ferry and stuff like that. So
Hey, Dale,
we're interested though.
Yeah,
If you have
I
a
think
specific one, that would be great to know.
yeah, the fire boats. You mentioned there might be a fire boat, something like that.
I'd love to. I'm going to the Maritime Academy this week, and
Right,
that's
right. I think
one of
that'd
my
be fun.
asks.
And up on the peninsula, out there on the Sacramento River, don't they have some kind of island event that they do with the boats get together? Guess we get it past Homeland Security, but all those folks, we got some pretty creative stuff going on.
Yep, we
Right.
do.
I want to talk to Sam's questions, and maybe get Sienna in here. We just, as I said, we've just started accepting people today that have already applied. if you have a more complicated exhibit or something, it may take us a little while to call you and go through that. But you know, you should start hearing in August, by the end of the month. And when should makers start making their product to be ready for October? Well, the track record of makers is now, because it always takes longer. So yeah, and when do we find if our idea has been accepted? Very soon, very soon.
And
You know what? I have to say, most of the applications are really good. The next phase is kind of just figuring out what kind of requirements you have, like space, indoor, outdoor, electricity, internet, fire, water, any things like that. So, you know, that's where we start working with you over the next 6 weeks or so.
and Sam was one of the first applications in, so
Okay.
we're
we'll be.
in there.
I don't know about Sam Freeman's asking about a bayonet food truck. Well, if you that's pretty specific, but if you send us your friend who has that truck, we'll try to include. We will have food trucks. You know, there'll probably be more at the north end of where we are.
If to Jana's question, if you don't know what a technical rider is, you probably don't have to submit one, which is the good thing. It is really anything having to do with heavyweight and being
Fire.
stationed outside, where we have to take in considerations anchoring, fire, so running propane, any of that plumbing, propane and helium both require technical riders. Pretty much if you can explode or hurt somebody when you come down, we should know about your safety requirements.
And separate from that, we will, if you've been at Maker Faire before, we're still going to be asking for your fire safety plan. If there's any sort of heated element in your exhibit space, your general safety.
Yeah, hydrogen, not helium. Yeah.
Any sort of tools.
Yeah, and someone at Davin asked, is there likely to be a bazaar or something like it? We're looking at doing a maker's market, and we've reached out to the San Francisco Bazaar and had positive response from them. But if you know people that essentially are just selling something, I'd like to have more like functional art or craft, and makers who have things. It's really designed for, you know, small makers, businesses, not, you know, venture capital companies kind of thing. We've always enjoyed having them there. Bike rack style crowd barriers be available.
I can answer that for bikes. We're trying to, the roads are not super safe for bikes. There's the bridge and 37. And so I'm not sure.
No, I think they're not asking about bikes. This is
sorry.
just we're using, what is it called, Jillian? Instead of bike racks as separation barriers from the public.
Oh, yeah, rope and stanchion.
Right, rope and stanchion. It's not impossible if we needed them to get them.
No.
Yeah,
if we
prevent
need
people from
bike-
entering the space.
If
Yeah.
we need bike there,
Mooney Hart is asking us, and Mooney, are you specifically work? I don't know that we've talked to power racing people yet, have we?
Hi. Yeah, so I am I'm a representative of the Power Racing Series. Someone who's in the Bay Area applied on our behalf to do sort of an exhibition exhibit. And the bike rack style barriers, I asked about those specifically because when we have the electric vehicles, you know, if they crash into a barrier that's not a heavy metal, you know, thing in the way, it can still injure people.
So you have a special thing. Let's do a separate call with you.
Yeah,
and
I think that would be good.
Jamie, if you could maybe arrange that with Mooney, and we'll go through that. We have,
Great.
you know, we have to kind of designate what the space is and how it's going to be used and what size it is, and then we need to get barriers. We will.
Thank you.
Asking for Jana asking for BOP.
Yeah,
flame effects.
they would need a technical rider, and
Right.
Jana, if you have questions about that, we have resources that we can work with you on.
Okay.
To just provide that.
SCAPA, if I say that right. Yeah, we'll figure out something if makers want to come back the second weekend on their own, figure out a discount code or something for you. Have I missed questions? Anybody seen anything that I missed that you want to answer? Oh, there's more in the, no, Conan O'Brien. Oh, wait. Okay, it's accepted. I got that. Sam's. Anybody else? How many of you, I can't, you're not all on video, but so I'll do a show of hands, but how many of you are coming from outside the Bay Area? Okay, several of you. All right. We'll be putting up travel information shortly, particular for, we were talking about the camping, but Katie, you found a hotel. Do you want to mention about that?
Yeah, we have 2 hotels that are near the fairgrounds or directly across from Discovery, Six Flags Discovery Park. So they're not necessarily downtown, but they're pretty close, just one freeway stop away from Mare Island. Not fancy, but they do the trek. There's also another one in American Canyon that we have room blocks and rates at. The ones closest to the venue, we have pretty good rates at. So we'll get those out in email and on the website shortly. We just secured them. So more soon.
Yeah. Looks like just a comment, Sam is coming from New York. And those of you who are international, we should give priority to accepting them just because they have to make travel plans. And I think, you know, it's more like you're going to come for one weekend, which weekend is best for you, that kind of thing. So Joan asked about stage. I am on the fence of this. I think we'll end up with a stage, but I've been kind of fighting it. We don't have a great venue for sit down talks and things, but I think we'll create like a demo stage like we've had for Make in the past, where people can, you know, with an audience of 25 to 30 and other people can stand around. But our editors might want to do more for a stage, but that's kind of my current thought on it.
Hi, can I get clarification on the darkroom?
Sure.
In fact, I just got my acceptance letter, thank you. But I have an LED installation. And so the way your slide, it made it sound like the darkroom was just going to be basically a second weekend thing. Is that true?
The majority of the darkroom will be second weekend. There is some space that is reserved for exhibitors the first weekend, but the Make Fashion stage will take over the majority of the darkroom. The rationale and kind of reasoning behind this is Oakland Autumn Lights is happening the first weekend.
Oh, right.
A lot of darkroom artists were going there.
Mm-hmm.
And Make Fashion was only available one weekend, and we're doing cosplay and fashion the first weekend. So that was the rationale behind that. But there's no reason why we couldn't accommodate 2 weekends. We would just have limited darkroom space available for them.
So, you know, maybe I should have put a picture up there, but it's hard to take a picture of a darkroom. That the windows are all blocked in there pretty much, and any that are not, we will block them. But it is very, it actually looks the same as that lit area, but it just happens to be, you know, most of the windows are boarded up in there. So,
so in regards to that, that's a good question. So the, let's just say you got in there both weekends.
Mhm.
If you're commercial, are you paying the $500 for both weekends? Or, you know what I mean?
That's a very good question.
Okay, so question number one for you guys to ponder. And then the other thing is, let's say you did both weekends. would you leave your stuff there all week
So
or,
we will have
right.
security full
Okay.
time. So to tell you the truth, to be selfish, anything we can load in, if a maker is going to be present for both weekends, we want to load in on the first weekend, have it safe, have it secure, and then just redo it. We don't really want maker load-ins. If possible, if you're going to be presenting both weekends, we would like to have maker check-in and load in for you the first weekend, keep your stuff safe and secure, and then do it. Now, if you have other engagements
Okay.
throughout the week and you need your project, that's understandable and we can accommodate that.
But
Okay.
it's also any valuables. I mean, this is kind of an open venue. We will have security, but the places we have buildings, some of the exhibits will be in buildings and those are obviously much more secure, but I think we'll probably come up with, a written recommendation, but it makes me a little bit nervous leaving. If you have valuables, you want to take those with you.
Yeah.
So.
That's fine. I kind of just was trying to get a lay of the land to know how to, add my information, because that's the next step, right? Is you guys want more info. The second weekend actually works perfect for me. So
okay,
that's fine.
We'll go over that. I want to ask Joan's question: will the education day be the same content as the weekend, just aimed at schools? There'll be some workshops for teachers or students. Probably, I'm looking at doing a teacher meetup sometime during this. So that might be separate than education day because they'll be busy. What I'd like to do on education day is if we have student projects to exhibit, is to give them a space to bring those in and do that. So that would be the content that's unique. Some makers can't show up on Friday, and so we may have space available for that. But they'll pretty much get what's going on the weekend. But I think the hands-on activities, maybe, we have to plan how to get, hundreds of kids through those a little bit more than the weekend. So we'll try to adapt for that. And Larry, we should probably talk about whether small or big. That one big building might be interesting. The Foundry building, it might be interesting to do something in there. But we could do the other things as well. Who have I missed? Any famous people? I don't know. They never tell us. They just show up. Famous people coming to Maker Faire. In loading in, I think if you have a big thing, you should load in on Thursday. We'll be there. But if you're just a tabletop, walk in Friday morning, set it up. We'll have your place designated for you. I mean, our crew would like everybody to show up on Thursday and set up, but that's not necessary unless you have a lot of things going on. Mentos guys, I don't think so. Well, we talked about putting them on a barge and having Diet Coke and Mentos float down the river. But if any of you know about anything like that, that'd be kind of fun, different and new. I think, one of the challenges is there are things that have been at Maker Faire a number of years and all of you like them, but we also have to move on from some of that and find new stuff. So I had no idea about the fishing.
So if I'm thinking about having a participatory, kids can come in, kids and adults can come in with a 3D printing pen and they can have a little area. I might be running up against with the power draw of all those individual pens against that. Is that something I can work with you guys on? I'd love. It was always very exciting to have kids come in and they build a thing, they take it home, maybe they buy a pen, but it was very fun.
Yeah.
Thanks, Krista.
Okay. Yeah. That's why we want this next phase, is tell us some of these requirements and see if we can meet them.
Hi.
Is that Jinx bot waving?
Yeah.
It's hard for me to match the voice to one of the titles.
Oh yeah, I'm the robot.
Okay. All right.
I've fully become my brand. I'm
All right.
excited to play with the other robots at Maker Faire.
All right. Hey, would you do a promo for us?
I'd be happy
Inviting-
to.
Inviting your other robots to come to Maker Faire.
Yeah, I have
would be
I have
really
a
fun.
talk show on VR chat now that if I get a Maker Faire robot to come on, I'll do an interview.
Okay, great.
Oh, do you know how tall the ceilings are in the dark room?
I have just reached out for the specs on that. I haven't heard back. I would say they're under 15 feet high. Probably more around 12, but definitely not over 15 feet.
Yeah, there's a cross beam, but then the ceiling is higher. There's a cross beam that's lower than that. Like 12 feet or something. Feels low. Okay. Were there new questions? No, I don't see any new ones there.
We haven't thought of ladders to hang stuff from the dark room. There is some existing, there's a wench that runs the length of the dark room, which is that beam I think Dale was alluding to. In terms of battle bots, yes, I connected with them last month and we'll see what's in the works for the second week. A lot of it depends on their tour dates and what the schedule is.
Yeah, but like
No.
Sanders' question about ladders is like, we'd like to know you need a ladder to set something up, and that would be a perfect thing to come in on Thursday and set up if we need to. Norm asks about booth size. I think that standard has been sort of 10 by 10, but I'd kind of encourage you, the way we're going to program it, we're not going to put up chain link fencing, to separate booths the way we have in the past. I think we're just going to kind of fool with it, and so I wouldn't say that everybody necessarily has a 10 by 10 space. First Robotics, yes, I think one group has already reached out to participate. We kind of have a challenge with them. Sometimes it's a lot of space to give up, and a lot of people to comp in for it. So kind of pick and choose on that a bit. All right. Any last minute thoughts, questions? I just want to close by maybe saying that well, at least they are in that building. They're not necessarily that way in the coal sheds. The same, and we might, in that one building, we might put 2 makers in a stall because they are 20 feet. But we'll have to wait.
A
till we
lot of
design that.
makers in that building will be commercial, like Mark's companies and startups.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Please, one, if you have ideas, please send it. I'm Dale@make.co. Any of us here have our first name usually, and make.co. If you know other makers out there who have cool stuff, I always felt part of the challenge of Maker Faire was to go out and convince certain people who say, "Oh, I don't have anything good," or I'm not ready, or and you kind of, or I'm not a maker. And you go, come on, just bring your stuff. It's cool. So you can help us scout some of that and get people in. We also need help promoting it to the community, especially some of you that live outside. I see Stockton and Sacramento. We really think we're very convenient to Sacramento and Davis, and would love to get people up in that part down here for the event, and also some of those makers as well. So you can help us. If you would like to, Kirsten's question, I'll keep doing this. We can do another one. What is it? The 8th, we can do one maybe before the month ends, or early September, maybe before Labor Day. I'll be happy to do that. I enjoy seeing all of you, and I'd like to hear more from you about what you're trying to do and what you want to do. Okay. Jillian, any, Katie, any other thoughts?
No,
Okay,
thank you
all right.
all. And,
Thank you all. Have a
Thank
good evening.
you.
Glad to
Thank
see you in
you.
person.
Thank you, Jinx.
one.
Thank you very much.